intended, but do you feel the same? Lovers, late at night, I will be right here too. Out of sight, love is under.
So, hey everybody, it's your girl Imani P from the DMV. You know where I'm at, you know where I be, and welcome to my channel Imaniversus, where we talk about music, culture, and more. So today we are in the more category, and I did ask you guys, I think last week, if you will be interested in some anime reviews, and there was some interest, so I'm gonna post a few in between my music and artists reviews that I do on here. So I'm really excited to do this. Today we're going to be talking about an anime I watched in the fall called Summertime Rendering. It came out in 2022, and this anime was all over the place. I'm not even going to hold you, and let me just tell you a little bit about it. And I recommend you all to watch it, even though it was all over the place. So of course we're going to go through the formalities before I even just start talking, because we need the background in order to understand the explanation I have at the end.
I'd rather we just skip the formalities.
So Summertime Rendering was a manga turned anime written and illustrated by Yasuki Tanaka. There are about 13 volumes, and it ran from October 2017 to February 2021. The anime, which consists about 25 or 26 episodes, ran from April 2022 to September 2022. And get this, y'all, the anime came to America on Disney Plus. I watched it on Hulu because Disney Plus be irritating me sometimes. But it's apparently on Disney Plus, and they didn't advertise it that well. To people. This is the English dub of the anime, and I think that's one of the complaints I did see when I did do a little bit more research about this anime, is that people wanted Disney Plus to advertise it more, but I don't think it goes with the Disney brand too much. But we'll get to that. So I'm gonna try to explain this show as best as I can, y'all. So the show's themes are basically fantasy, sci-fi, and time traveling, butterfly effects, and loops. So if those are the genres you're into, you'll love this anime. But I'm not a big fan of time movies or loops and butterfly effects because of animes like this, and we'll talk about the reasons in the end. But the anime is about a boy named Shinpei and his two adopted sisters, Yushio and Mio. They grow up together. Shinpei's parents passed away, and he had to go live with Yushio and Mio's grandfather. And then he moved off to the mainland, Tokyo, and he had to go back to his island in Japan because his adopted sister Yushio passed away. So he was going back for the funeral. But it turns out, at the end of the episode, Yushio is alive. So how did this happen? Bum, 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 bum. So the anime basically talks about, so I think the anime starts off very psychological thriller, which had me invested. I thought it was an actual mystery until it turned straight sci-fi and fantasy, because it started getting into the fact that the people on the island have been cursed with shadows that basically copy their data, unalive them, is that what y'all say? Unalive them and then replace them. And that's what basically they've been doing for however many years this has been going on their island. And that's what happened to Yushio. So once they figure that out, there goes in this whole time loop butterfly effect where the main character, Shinpei, finds out every time that he gets unalived, he can go back a day and start it over. But that comes with a restraint of every single time he goes back a day, it could be his last time. He could actually be permanently gone, because there's a time restraint on how many times he can do this. So they just spend repeating the next 3 days with one another. the Shadow Yushio and him team up. Basically, they're the main characters, and then there's Mio, and then there are two friends, and then an author, and this old man. Because there's always an old man in the group, you know. And from there, they just go on this whole adventure, and where they basically stop all the shadow monsters, defeat the big bad guy that looks like the Negro from Kingdom Hearts, and fight a little girl who is actually a god, but you know, wants to stay a little girl and have a family and all this stuff. I can link this video down below if you want to watch the specific time loops that they go through in the show, from this a YouTuber. I forgot her name, but it was a really good, she breaks it down really well. But let's get into the positives before I get into the negatives about this anime. So I will say I really do love this anime. I think it's good. I give it a good 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. The animation is beautiful. I think the storyline is really good. It does like suck you in pretty quickly because it starts off a certain way and then it ends up being another way and then it ends up being another way. So there's a lot of twists and turns and loops and all this stuff throughout the show. I do feel like the characters were pretty compelling and you can relate to them pretty well. And there was really good action scenes, really good how everybody was connected, even back from like the 80s and 90s. Everyone is connected. It was just a really good show in general. And yeah, I give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. But there are a few negatives I did not like about the show, and these are just negatives personally for me. So like I said, like some of the time loops and the butterfly effects of the show, it's cool. But I have this, not with just this show, but just in general with like any type of entertainment. When they started doing time loops and butterfly effects, I think specifically with this show that I noticed that it just seemed like they were kind of making it up as they go along. Like I didn't see any inklings of some things were planted in the first episode that are relevant to the 16th episode. And I may be wrong, like there are some things, but it seemed like they just kind of made up a plot device just randomly, like, oh, we need to find this controller. And if you remember in Time Loop 2 back in episode 3, the controller was there, and I'm like, was the controller there? Let me go look. And sometimes I don't see it, and sometimes I'm like, maybe I just didn't have a good enough eye. But I just got a little bit annoyed at that. I would like to say too that this anime, while I did like how it kind of just like shifts, I feel like there was like 4 different animes in one, and I do like that, but I also was confused watching it because, you know, yes, I was like, so what's gonna happen? So it made me watch it more. But 2, I'm like, how did this go from like a psychological thriller to a sci-fi to a shonen to a love story to a fantasy? Like it was just kind of, it felt all over the place, but they did a good job not making me not watch the anime anymore. The next thing I feel like I didn't understand about the show, or like some negatives towards it. So I think the ending was nice. I'm glad that the 2 protagonists, you know, fixed everything and found love in the end. I honestly didn't dislike it the way other people dislike the ending, because I want people to be happy. I just don't like how they kind of just did this, and this is something else I hate about time and loops and stuff. They did that thing, and y'all know what I'm talking about, where they just reset everything and then nothing ever happened. Like, oh, it never happened, we just reset it all. That really blew me. Yushio goes back at the very end and finds the whale that Haim, when they first showed up and the copying started with the shadows, and she just deleted the whale, and then everything just went on normally, like it never happened. And it, you know, if you look at people's theories and stuff, they're basically saying that the world with the shadows had to happen in order for a parallel world without the shadows not happen. but it just gave very much, okay, we don't know how to wrap up the show, so let's just add a plot device where she can go back in time, delete the whale, and that's it, and that's how we're gonna wrap it up. That really blew me. I did not like that. I think the last thing that really like blew me and I don't like, okay, Yushio, Mio, and Shinpei are all adopted siblings. They all grew up as siblings, but Mio and Yushio had a crush on Shinpei, and Shinpei had a crush on like Yushio. And just the whole time when they were kind of trying to force this Yushio Shinpei ship and Mio liking Shinpei and all this stuff, I was just sitting here like, aren't y'all siblings? Like, I know the grandpa or the dad, I forgot which one it was. Whatever the guardian was, I know he raised y'all as like straight up siblings. I know y'all not technically related, but it's getting weird. It's getting weird. And it's like, if you wanted there to be a love story, they could have just definitely, you know, had them, like, Shinpei's parents didn't have to pass away. Because the whole time I was like, that is your adopted sister. That is your brother. That is your sister. Why are you trying to be with them? And I wasn't really messing with it. But you know, everybody's different. Everybody different. I also, like I said, I wanted to talk about how people, like, I saw people saying, like, oh, it came on Disney Plus and they didn't do a good job advertising it or showing it to the world. I just don't know why it was on Disney Plus anyway. Disney is so, like, you know, child friendly and stuff. And I'm saying this show is not child friendly, but like, there's a lot of suggestive themes in this show. Like, Yushio is in a bathing suit the whole time and it's tight. The author's breasts are humongous and they do a lot of jokes when it comes to that, and her breasts being humongous. There's just, you know, shower scenes and, you know, underwear showing. Like, that's why Disney didn't advertise it. I'm just surprised they even had it on their platform. But if you want to watch it, you can watch it on Hulu, y'all, period. I think overall the show is good, and you will keep watching each and every episode because you just kind of want to know what happens as the genres change throughout the show. You're just like confused at the end of episode 4 and you're like, okay, so what's going to happen in episode 5? Are they going to win? Now they're adding this, now they're adding that, now there's this plot device and this plot device, and now this is not making any sense, and they copied who and the data and blah. It's just like all over the place and it's hard to grasp. Definitely one of those shows you have to watch multiple times to really get it, or watch like a review video like I'm gonna link down below for y'all to watch. So I think that's all I had to say. Hopefully this wasn't a big brain dump on you all, because the show is confusing since it is about time loops and butterfly effects and everything. But thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video on this channel. And check out my Spotify, lots of playlists on there. And check out all my medias. Everything is linked in the description below. Watch that review video I told y'all about so you can understand what I'm talking about. And watch the show too. Like, y'all have a little bit of time. I know there's a break going on. There's a holiday. So go ahead, you know, do it. And I'll see y'all real soon. Bye.
Standing, get it right. What I need from you is everlasting. Lovers at night, I might regret the day. What's it worth? Yeah, can't keep on no more, especially when I'm sober. I won't